Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to The Ghost of Molly McGee, Season 2, Episode 1. It's been too long. I've been waiting for this, I've been excited for this, and we're finally here. And it's having an interesting drop. Because, episodes 2 through 5 dropped today on the app. Episode 1 dropped yesterday. But on the Disney Plus, on the channel, I think episode 1 it goes on the channel today, and then it's weekly. And from what I'm gathering, we're not getting more episodes until it catches up. So for anyone wondering, I am not going to be rushing ahead with the reactions. I'm not going to be like belting them out because this is a slot show. So I've got to make it last until more episodes come, you know. It's not the same as if when there's a hiatus, because then it's taken off the slot. I'm not gonna do that with this because that's not how this works. So I'm gonna try to space these out as best I can. I don't know anything about the season. I haven't seen any trailers or whatnot because I don't want spoilers. So I don't know what to expect going into this. What I do know is that we left off with a pretty huge finale. Like, we had the entire thing with Molly and them almost losing the house. Andrea and Libby and everyone helping get it back. And then we had to deal with the ghost realm and the council, specifically, with Molly killing Death. And you guys have tried to like tell me like, oh, he's maybe not necessarily Death specifically, just the head of the council and everything. It's like, I know, but he looks like Death, okay? I'm calling him Death until we have any kind of evidence otherwise. So presumably the council is going to be scared now, from what we could tell, and is not going to be bothering Scratch much of anymore. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. There's a lot of setup for an actual main story to be happening. It just hasn't gotten there yet. There's a lot of people who are saying that when the Owl House ends, which is like next week or so, that it's going to be the end of like these actual like story-driven shows on Disney for at least the time being. That they're going to be focusing a lot more on episodic stuff, and it's like that's not necessarily true. That entire idea basically depends on if you're just presuming this is going to remain entirely episodic. And honestly, I think there's more evidence that it's going to start being a lot more story focused. And just because there may not be any others currently running, that doesn't mean there's not going to be. There's a lot of assumptions that are being made. And I just think it's a weak assumption that there's not really any evidence for. But yeah, I'm excited to get back to more of this, so we're just going to get into it. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So apparently the mom of this new ghost hunter family was voiced by Stephanie Sheh. If you don't know her voice, you've definitely heard her in reactions on this channel, and in probably quite a lot. But here's a list of the notable ones that I know her for. She's Hinata Hyuga / Hinata Uzumaki from Naruto and Boruto. She's Orihime Inoue from Bleach. She's the second dub voice of Usagi Tsukino from Sailor Moon. Not in the original dub, but when it was redubbed, and then carrying on into Sailor Moon Crystal and all of that. She is the voice of Lotte Janssen and Jaminka from Little Witch Academia. She is Susie Q from Part 2 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. She is Julie Moon Varick from Legend of Korra. Miko's mom from Glitch Techs. And Casey from Cannon Busters. That's just a few examples. She's in a lot more than that. She's a pretty prolific VA at this point. And has definitely made her name known for the likes of Hinata and Orihime. So it's like, just seeing her name there, it's like, oh wow, that's a pretty big name. So that's really cool to see. But this episode is interesting because it kind of sets up what is sure to be a season-long story arc. So we are getting more of a story. But I'm thinking it's going to be more along the lines of early My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And bear with me, for those of you who may have not watched that. In the early seasons of MLP, there were season-long story arcs. Most of the episodes were still episodic. But, like, there was every now and again, you'd have an episode that would touch on that arc. For example, in Season 1 of Friendship is Magic, there was the Grand Galloping Gala. This was brought up in multiple episodes. You had the Suited for Success episode, in which Rarity was going to be making dresses for the gala. You had the Ticket Master, in which there was the entire thing with the tickets to the gala and who Twilight would give the extra ticket to. In the end, just getting more extra tickets from Princess Celestia. And it kept building up little by little to where in the finale, the Grand Galloping Gala finally felt earned. It didn't come out of nowhere. It felt like it was a thing. And I think that's what we're going to do here. We're going to have it so like most of the episodes are just going to be still episodic, but throughout the run of the season, we're going to have episodes here and there that touch on the Ghost Hunters, the Chen family. We're going to touch on them, get to see them like the McGee's trying to, take them off the trail of Scratch and everything. And by the end of the season, we're going to have like this big confrontation. That's what I'm seeing happen. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm viewing it right now. And honestly, I'd be okay with that. I think that's a good way to introduce more of an actual plot into the series without like necessarily compromising the style that the show's going for. It doesn't have to be like Owl House or Amphibia and have like this big overarching massive plot that takes some really dark turns and changes the entire course of the show. No, it doesn't have to go that far. Just having an ongoing plot of some degree, though, is a good thing. And I think this is actually a good way to handle it for this series. The new characters are pretty interesting. We have the father who brews his own root beer and is just a nice guy. We have the mother who loves spicy food, which, same. She loves spicy food just like Sharon and is a bit competitive, too, from what we've seen. We have the son, who is a nice guy and seems to be very similar to Molly, except obviously for the Ghost Hunter part. And then finally we have the other child, who I'm actually not sure on their gender, if I'm being honest. And their name, June, doesn't really tell me much. I don't know what pronouns they use. Let's just put it that way. I can't tell. I just can't. So I'm gonna refer to June as they for now, until like I get more of a confirmation. It might have referred to them with gendered pronouns in this episode, and I just missed it. But they are autistic and blatantly said so. They blatantly came out and mentioned that they're autistic, and sometimes it's hard to like understand them and get a grasp of them. And it's like I like this representation so far. Like, not only just the acknowledgement of it, like actual just saying it flat out. Which, believe it or not, some of us autistic people do that. We will tell people we're autistic, especially when just meeting them, in order to let them know that we act and talk a little differently and might not like comprehend things and stuff. You get the general idea. I've seen other autistic people do it as well. It's a thing, from what I've seen, and from what I've personally experienced. Um, and yeah, I like that they're not shown to be like overly. How do I put it? They're not shown to be like a burden or like weird and like unlikable or anything. They're just, you could see like there's a little bit of a hyperfixation angle to it, like with the drone and tech stuff. You could see that they're a little awkward and a little like they need a little prodding sometimes um to be polite or whatnot. It's like that's real, that's genuine, that feels like good autistic representation. I've seen autistic representation done bad. The movie by She Who Will Not Be Named, for example, the musician who tried to make a movie about autistic people and was so fucking ableist with it, it's not funny. Let's put it that way. Um, but yeah, it's good to see a representation that seems to be doing really good with that. And honestly, I kind of expect that from Molly McGee. It seems like a series that would do well with that. I have no qualms with how this series is going to handle a lot of topics like that. Um, and we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes as well. There was no Andrea or Libby in this episode. We did see Jeff, um, but just briefly, basically. Um, Jeff and Libby have both been added to the intro, which implies to me that they're going to be more important this season. So I'm wondering exactly how that's going to come into play. Andrea is not in the intro, so she's probably going to have kind of the same role that she had last season, I'm guessing. But obviously still continuing to grow as a character and everything. But then we have the B plot to this episode, which is definitely Scratch's entire thing with the Ghost Council. We see that the Ghost Council doesn't know what to do. Scratch is for some reason being given credit for taking out the chairman, even though it was Molly. So he's being named as the new chairman just by proxy, and it's like, I'm just confused by that. It's like Molly's the one who took out the chairman, not Scratch. It's like, I know she's not a ghost normally. Maybe that's why? Like, I think Scratch had, like, he helped with it, but it wasn't him who did it. I guess he's just, because he is a ghost, he's being given the credit. Kind of like in One Piece with Alabasta, where the Marines, specifically Smoker and Tashigi, are given the credit for taking down Crocodile, even though it was Luffy and them. But they can't be given the credit. They're pirates. So we have to just force the credit onto Smoker and Tashigi. And I love that Smoker hated that. He did not like being given the credit because he did not like lying to the people about that. He thought that was wrong. And it is. And I'm not going to get into all of that here, but yeah. It kind of makes me think of that. But yeah, so the Ghost Council doesn't know what to do, so reluctantly, Scratch helps them try to figure out how to spend their afterlives without rules. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work, and they're more nuisances than anything, especially when they're not mentioning very important shit, like the fact that there's these I don't remember what they're called, um these scary creatures, ghost things that escaped from the flow of failed phantoms if not for the chairman ordering them to stay, basically. And Scratch had basically eliminated the role, which caused some trouble, and the phantoms escaped into the real world where they would cause issues. So Scratch had to don the cloak and become the chairman in order to get them to go back. And he's basically saying, it's like, I'll be your chairman, but just don't bother me with shit. It's like, unless it's important, unless it's something that needs to be done, just don't bother me. You guys take care of it. You guys work under me, you take care of it. That's basically how he's going about it. I'm kind of interested to see where that all goes as well. But that definitely felt like more of a B plot. It was obviously important, but the A plot feels like it's more of the big thing for this season. So yeah, this was a really solid start to the season. I'm still not the biggest fan of the ship with Molly and this new kid. And again, because it's clearly just Molly has an instantaneous crush on him, and I'm not the biggest fan of the entire love at first sight kind of angle. And yes, they have a lot in common, but also it's like, I feel like her relationship with Libby just has more chemistry in that regard. Hell, I would say that there's more to give for Andrea and Molly, and I'm not even really a fan of that ship. I don't hate it, but I'm not a fan of it. But there's definitely a lot more chemistry with either of them, Libby or Andrea with Molly, than with this new kid. It's just like, oh, he's just there and is suddenly perfectly like Molly, except for this one thing. It's like, it's a little too convenient, you know? I just don't feel like, it's going, it makes a lot of sense. I don't like it. Maybe that's just me. But we'll see how it all goes. Yeah, I thought this was a really good start. It wasn't like the best of this series by any means. Like, there's been better episodes last season, for sure. And there will most likely be better episodes this season. But it was still a really genuinely good start. And having it be double length and everything was smart. Allows it to breathe and everything. Now, like I said in the pre-thoughts, episodes 2 through 5 are releasing today as well, but it seems we're going to have to wait for more episodes until it catches up on the series, on the channel. Because these episodes are being released via the app. So the episodes will release weekly, and once it catches up, then we'll be able to get to new episodes week by week. So the big thing with that is, like I said, I don't want to catch up on these first 5 too quickly, because I don't want to I don't want to be left with multiple weeks of not having anything. Not only for myself, and just, I don't want to, have to put that off for weeks, but for you guys too. So I think it'd be best to maybe do this just once a week for now. We'll see how it goes. It's just going to depend on a lot of factors, but that's probably going to be the best course of action. Because, again, I don't want to wait that long. I really don't. But at the same time, it's going to be hard having to wait just to get to more episodes, you know? It sucks, but it's just what we've got to do. I mean, it's not really any different than waiting a week each time for Ruby. And it just means that we're going to have other shows that we're going to be putting up instead. We'll take it as it goes, figure it out as it goes, and otherwise we'll just continue to do as we've been doing on the channel and react to what I want to get to as I want to get to it. So, in the meantime, let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of The Ghost of Molly McGee Season 2? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.